but Sapa is a very special part of Vietnam. The culture in Sapa is so different than in Hanoi. In Sapa, a young girl shall get married at the age of 14, and a young girl shall have her first child at the age of 15. That is very hard for a young girl, but that is what Vietnam is like. Everywhere in Vietnam is so different. Like when you go down to Hoi An and Da Nang. Da Nang, I think, will become a very big city in Vietnam. Every time I go into Da Nang or I fly over it, it's becoming a very big city, because the advantage of Da Nang becoming a big city, it's halfway between Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh, so there shall be a lot of business in Da Nang. I hope that in the future a lot more foreign companies will come into Vietnam. Like north of Hanoi, you have the Samsung building. That will employ about 5,000 people. And the money they get there is very high. It's nearly double what you can get in Hanoi. But when I first came to Vietnam 15 years ago, the world was up here and Vietnam was down here. But Vietnam is getting better and better and better all of the time. Okay?
And the next question. I think Sapa is you like most.
I love Sapa. I'm very lucky when I go to Sapa that the first time I went there, I met a little black woman, and each time I go back, I go and I stay with her family. When you go to Sapa, a lot of the young children speak very good English. They speak very good English because they speak with foreigners all of the time. Okay? That is a big, big difference, because it is up to you as students to go to one kibble to speak to foreigners. Sometimes foreigners don't want to talk to you. I don't know why. Every foreigner I meet, I say to them, the students need your help. Okay. And when you talk to a foreigner, ask them to speak slowly for you, because it is hard for you to understand what the foreigner says. But before, when I went to Sapa, you used to go by night, and it was an 8.5, 9-hour trip on the train. Now it is only about 5.5 hours on the bus. You go by bus now. Yeah. It is great. Very, very comfortable. The bus does not have a seat. The bus has a bed in it. Sleeping buses. You lay back on the bus and you sleep, and the bus stops halfway and you have a meal. Okay? But it's a lot different. Vietnam, the roads are getting better. Everything in Vietnam is getting better and better and better and better. In the future, when you have children and that, when your child gets to about 3 or 4, start teaching them English. But teach them Vietnamese first, okay? Vietnamese, I really want Vietnamese to be the important part of your children's lives, but teach them in English, because English will be the future.
Okay. Tell me, why do you love Vietnam, and why do you choose Vietnam to live?
Okay. I had travelled to many parts of the world. I spent a while in Africa and Europe. But once I came to Vietnam, there is something very special about Vietnamese people. The culture and the respect of Vietnamese people. I find in Vietnam, in Hanoi, sometimes you think the motorbikes and that are a little bit crazy. Okay, there's motorbikes everywhere, but in Sydney and that, we don't have many motorbikes, but we have a large amount of cars and bad traffic. If you get caught in traffic in Sydney, it might take you an hour to go 3 or 4 kilometres. You just can't get anywhere. But here, one of the biggest changes I've seen in Hanoi is now there is more cars on the road, more traffic. So it is harder for people to get around on motorbikes because the cars block the road. But no, you live in a fabulous country. Go out and see it, because every part of Vietnam you go to, the food is very different. In Hanoi, you have a lot of traditional food. They say that in Hanoi, you speak the most perfect Vietnamese. Okay, because in South Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh, in Saigon, that's got a lot of American influence has come into the language there. In Saigon, the traffic is crazy. Motorbikes, 24 hours a day motorbikes. In Hanoi, 10 o'clock at night, all the motorbikes, they go off the road. It's nice and peaceful and quiet. Vietnam, Hanoi has changed a lot. There is so many coffee shops in Hanoi now. It wasn't like that before. There's where I live, there's got to be about 25 coffee shops within 2 blocks. It's just crazy. But the food here is fantastic. In Australia, if we have vegetables, we can go to the supermarket, we buy the vegetables, they are in frozen plastic bags, we take them home, we put them into the refrigerator, we can eat the food 2 months later, 8 weeks later. But your food is very good. One thing that is very special about Vietnamese women have beautiful skin. Okay. That is true. Vietnamese women, sometimes they just put on a little bit of lipstick and they look very beautiful. But in Australia, women put on so much makeup on their face. A woman in Australia might spend $2,000 or $3,000 a year on makeup for her face. You know, that is a lot of difference. Vietnamese women are naturally beautiful. Okay. The men are okay. Mr.Keith is okay.
Yes.
No, but Vietnam was changed when Ho Chi Minh came back from overseas, and he studied for 26 years. He changed Vietnam into being a socialist country. That means that Vietnamese people are all one big family, north or south. They are one big family. My friend, she did a bicycle ride. Crazy woman did a bicycle ride from Hanoi all the way down to the southernmost point of Vietnam. I thought, hey, she was a little bit crazy, but she's got a special spirit. And they stopped everywhere in pagodas and got food and all of that. But you think Australian people would do that? No chance. Vietnamese people have a special energy. A lot of Australians are very lazy. Because in Vietnam, you want to graduate from university, you want to get work, okay? You want to get work. In a lot of cases, you want to work. You should give a little bit of money back to your parents because they have helped you. But it is difficult to get work in Hanoi. I've got to be honest, it's hard. A lot of my students have had very good marks, but they've still found it difficult to get work. And they've had to go down to Saigon to get work. But your country is very beautiful. You go down to Nha Trang and the beach is beautiful, beautiful beach. Vin Pearl, the amusement park, a big aquarium and everything like that. I was surprised when I came to class this time. All of the buildings are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So many apartment buildings are being built in Hanoi now. It's a little bit crazy. But it is hard. It will be harder in the future for young people in Hanoi to be able to afford to buy a house. A small apartment, small two-bedroom apartment will cost you $50,000 or $60,000. That's a lot of money for young people. But, when you start work, you have to learn to start to save money in the bank. Okay? Because when you want a house, you have to have a little bit of money.